Hi everyone, I'm back. I went ahead and laid out the beads that I'm going to be using to create the little dangles using my Tila beads on my second earring here. So I have my 8 Tilas laid out, some 11 black, 11 raspberry, and some 8 Alright, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're coming out, currently exiting one of your 11 seed beads on the outside edge of your bead frame. We're going to pick up a Tila, an 11 black, a raspberry, and a black. I'm going to drop those down to our beadwork. We're going to come back through our Tila, and we're going to go down through the C bead right next to the one where we're starting from here. And I'm going to give a pull. And that's how we've created our first little dangle. Now, go up through the next seed bead in line. And we want to start adding a little variation of length to the next Tila section. So pick up an 11 seed bead, then your Tila, then pick up your black, raspberry, and black sequence, and drop those down. And this time, I want you to come back through just your Tila. And pull your needle. Pull your thread. Now we need to pick up a black 11 and then come through the next seed bead on our frame. So that this is what we have. Now we're going to move into position for the next Tila by passing up through the next seed bead in line. Pull your work nice and snug. And this time, we're going to pick up 2 black 11s, then our Tila. Then we're going to pick up a black 11, an 8, a raspberry, an 8, then a black 11. We're going to let all that come down to our beadwork. And then we're going to come through our Tila once again. Now this time, we'll need to pick up 2 black 11 seed beads before we come through the bead on our bead frame. So pick up your 2 black 11s and come down through the next seed bead on your bead frame. And pull. So this is what we have. All right, so we'll need to get into position for the fourth one. So go up through the next seed bead in line. Pull your work nice and snug. All right, so now we're going to pick up for this dangle here. And these two, we're going to pick up the same sequence 2 times. But first we'll start with 1. Pick up 2 blacks. 11s, then a Tila. Then we're going to pick up a black, an 8, a raspberry, a black, a raspberry, an 8, and 1 more black. We'll let that all come down. And we're going to come back through our Tila. Once again, just the Tila. We're going to pull everything nice and snug into position. We're going to pick up our 2 black 11s and come back through the next bead on our frame. And then we have the first half side of our little embellishment section here completed. Now we need to come up through our next 11 and pull that through. Now we're just going to repeat the exact same steps for this one. So we have 2 blacks, then our Tila, then we have a black and 8 raspberry, black, raspberry, 8 black. Drop that all down and coming back through the Tila. Picking up 2 more black 11-0s and coming through the next seed bead on the bead frame once again. So now we have the 2 identical ones, units here in our center. And that's what we're going to use to add our dagger bead to later on. But first we need to duplicate this one, and this one. So let's go up through the next seed bead. Now we're going to duplicate this unit. We'll pick up 2 black 11-0s, then our Tila. Then we're going to pick up a black, an 8-0, 1 raspberry, an 8-0, and a black. We'll drop that down to our beadwork. And we're going to come back through our Tila first. We're going to pick up our 2 black beads. And we're going to come through, down through the next seed bead on our frame, just like we've been doing. And snug that unit into position. Come on around. Come back up through the next seed bead in line. And here we're going to pick up 2 blacks, then our Tila, of course. Then we're going to pick up a black, raspberry, and black, just like we did on this unit. Drop that down. Excuse me, you know what I'm doing? I'm telling you guys wrong, and I'm glad I caught myself. We only needed to pick up 1 black bead before our Tila this time. So I'm going to take those all our beads back off. And you can look and just see for yourself which beads to pick up. But I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm picking up 1 black, then my Tila. Then a black, a raspberry, and a black. I'm going to drop it down. Then we're going to come through the Tila. And we pick up 1 black and come back through the next, down through the next seed bead on our row, just like we've been doing. And now we're going to add the last one. So come back up through the next seed bead in line. And this time we're not picking up any beads in between the Tila, so we're just going to pick up our Tila, then a black seed bead 11, a raspberry 11, and a black 11. And let those fall down. Come back through just your Tila and the next seed bead on the frame. And pull. And there we have added our cute little Tila dangles. Now, here's an optional position we're in. You can go back through all these beads if you want. But since we're using Fireline, we want to have a little bit of sway to our dangle section here. I don't suggest that you do that. The Fireline's a nice secure thread, and everything's going to stay and hold its place. We don't have any crystals or, rough-edged beads that we're using in this project, so we really don't have to reinforce these dangles. And like I said, if you do, it's going to stiffen them up. So I'm not saying to do that. I say skip that for this project. But now we need to figure out how to get into position to add our dagger. And then we'll be coming up here to add our loop. So right now, we're coming out of this seed bead here, underneath this Tila. And I don't want to go through these units all again. I'm just going to go up through the seed bead to the right, next door, that's along my bead frame. And those are the beads I'm going to be working with here to get myself into position to add my dagger. I'm only going to be using the beads along my frame. So now I'm exiting the top of this bead. I'm going to go down the bead right next door to it on the frame. So that'll be the one right above the 8 O's. Go up through the next one. And take your time. I'm on camera, so I'm trying to stay in the light. Oops, folks, I had it, and then I pulled back out like a crazy person. So see there, I'm coming up through 2, so I only want to be coming up through the one on my bead frame. So there we go, right there. Come down the next one. And then I'm going to come up this one. On this third unit. I'm going to go down the one right next to it. And when I come up through the next one, I'll be into the 4th unit where I want to be actually going down to add my dagger. So when I come up through this bead, I'm going to go ahead and go up through all the beads towards the end of this little unit, of this little dangling unit. So I'm coming up through the 3 seed beads, the Tila, and the next 3 seed beads. And I'll go ahead and pull. I'm going to go over through this black bead right here. So now, as you can see, we're in position to add this little section of beads right here. And to do that, I need to get out just a couple of more of my little 8 seed beads. I didn't get out enough. All right. So now I'm going to pick up the following seed beads. I'm going to pick up a raspberry, an 8, a raspberry, then my dagger bead. And I want to make sure that I'm going through my bead correctly from the angle that I'm working on. Then repeat the raspberry, the 8, and the raspberry. And bring that all the way down to my beadwork. So this is what I have. I'm exiting this black seed bead. I picked up this little sequence, raspberry, 8, raspberry, then my dagger, then the sequence again. And now I'm going to go through the black bead on the 2nd unit, longest unit. So when I pull, this is what I have. And now I'm going to work my way back down through all of these beads, this 3 seed beads, the Tila, and then the 3 seed beads here on this side. And I'm going to pull. And there's what I have. And now I'm going to continue working with the beads just along the edge of my bead, the outer edge of my beadwork, which are the black beads here. I'm going to go up through that first one, down through the next one, and those were our brick stitch row beads, if you remember. And up through the next one, down through the one next to it, up this next one, down the next one, and then up the next one. Now I've worked my way back around to this outside edge of my beadwork. I have all of my beautiful little Tila dangles created. I have my dagger bead added. And I've left it soft enough so that my dagger has a little sway and swing to it. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to do is work our way up here to the top so that we can add this loop to add our ear wire. And it's really simple to do that. We're just going to continue on using that same stitch that we've been using, which is by going down one bead and up one bead all along the outside row of our brick stitch. I'm going to continue working till we get up here to the center. And then I'll be back to show you how to add your loop. Hi guys, so I am back. And I have stitched my way to the top of my earring where I want to create my loop. And I'm going to be working with some of my 15-0s here. And to do this little loop, it's really simple. Pick up a black 15-0, a raspberry 11, then another black 15, then pick up one of your 8-0s, and repeat your little 3-bead sequence here of a 15, 11, 15, just like this. And then we're just going to come down through the next seed bead over. And pull. And we have our little loop created up here at the top of our earring. And we want to reinforce that loop, so we'll just go right back up through the black 11-0 and work our way back through these beads of our loop. Just like that. Making sure that you don't skip any beads so that you don't have any exposed thread at the end of your project. Come back down through this bead. And there's our little loop. And if you're wondering about adding the jump ring, if you'll look on this earring, I actually put the jump ring through the 8-0 bead. So now we have this little loop formed and we're ready to end our thread. Or optionally, you can add the row of seed beads to the outside of the frame, just like we did on the other side here. Which I am going to do that step. It's up to you if you would decide whether you want to add that row on the back. But if you do, you're coming out of this 11-0, you'll just need to go right down through the 8-0 beneath it. Just like that. And then go under the thread bridges right beneath the 8-0 that you just came out of. Then we'll just pick up your seed bead and go through the next 2 thread bridges like we did before and work your way all the way around until you've added the complete row of embellishment just like on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. Then I'll come back and show you guys how to end off this thread and we'll finish our earring. Alright folks, so we're about ready to wrap this up. I've got my beads added to cover my frame on both sides of my earring now. I've added my last bead and I'm ready to get rid of my thread. So here's where my thread is exiting, right here. So I'm just going to once again go up through that 8-0 seed bead right next to it. Pull it through as soon as I get unhung from my lovely dangles. And then, I'm just going to flip my work over a little bit here. I'm going to also come up through the 11-0 above it. So I'm on the outside edge of my beadwork. You make sure you don't get tangled up in your little dangles down here. Pull your thread through. And now once again, you're on the outside edge of your beadwork. And we can go ahead and weave our thread off and end it by using our thread burner or our scissors. So just to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to continue weaving up and down through the seed beads. I'm on the outside edge, so I'll go down through the one next to it, up the one next to that, just like we did to position ourselves to add our loop. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I feel that my thread is nice and secure. And I'm only using my 11 beads here. And then I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So every now and then I'm going to move backwards in my beads. And this is going to form a really secure into my to this thread so that it can't slip back out in normal wear and tear. You can tie half-hitch knots if you like on your project, but for this type of work I don't want to tie half-hitch knots where you run the risk of making a knot on the outside edge and it's real easy to see, and it just kind of gives a ruined look to your finished product. So I'm just going up and down and working my thread off. Make sure I get in the bead is helpful. Come down a few more. Just like this. And so my beadwork's getting a little tight now, so I'm having trouble getting actually into these seed beads. So it lets me know that my work's probably fairly secure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down through an 11-0. And then I'm going to go through an 8-0 as well. So my working thread is here in a nice little hidden spot. I'm going to use my scissors this time so I can get some leverage on this thread. I'm going to pull tight like this when I cut. And that way, if there was a little tiny piece of the end thread there, it'll snap down into the beadwork where you can't see it. So there we have it. And that part is finished. So now we just need to add our ear wire. And to do this, I'm just going to open up my jump ring with my pliers. Like that. And you may have to open it a little further. You'll just have to determine for yourself. But it's very difficult to work this in. But just stick with it until you get it in there, because it will fit into that 8-0. And that's the way I want to finish this project. Now you can do it any way you want, but I'm going to work until I get my little jump ring through my 8-0. I have to wiggle my little 15-0s out of the way. And I'm not going to do this on camera where you have to sit here and watch me. I'm just going to go ahead and pause until I work it into that seed bead, and then I'll come back and we'll close it up. Alright, so it took me just a second or two to get my little jump ring. Ran through my little 8-0 seed bead there, but it goes through because the Toho 8-0 has a lot of room in there. Now, if you did not add your accent beads here on the front, on the back side of your earring, it will make a difference how you add your ear wire. But because I've decorated both sides of mine, it doesn't really matter. So I can put my ear wire on and then just close my jump ring with my pliers. And then make sure you know that you have a nice secure closure on your jump ring. And mine is beautiful. It closed up really pretty. No problem. And then there's my beautiful finished earring. And here's the pair. So folks, that's all there is to today's tutorial. It was a little long and a little advanced, but you know, I've been promising that I would show my viewers and my subscribers how to do this particular accent. And I've been working with brick stitch, and so I wanted to show you how to do this brick stitch around a bead frame as an entire project. And I hope you liked it, and I hope you enjoy your earrings. All right, well, this is Katrina signing off. Make sure you get over to my website, sign up for the Bead Mat newsletter, follow me on YouTube, and of course, here on Skillshare. I want to thank you for all the support that you give me. You have a great day, and thanks a lot.